from the book of Samuel, and let me share this with everybody. And what we're doing is we're trying to extract the Hebrew root, the verbal root from the full word in the text. And in other situations, we're trying to extract the noun from the full Hebrew word with the goal of looking these up in the dictionary. And I've sort of primed the pump, so to speak, by color coding the words so that we can separate the prefixes and suffixes from the actual verbal root or the actual noun. And then as an extra added feature, we'll identify maybe one or two verbs and look at them a little more closely in terms of the verb classes. And we've just begun to introduce the idea of verb classes, and we'll talk a lot about those. But basically, you can take a 3-letter root and apply specific rules according to the verb class, which will give these roots different shades of meaning. And this is how we expand our Hebrew vocabulary quite a bit. So what we've been doing is we've been reciting the verse first, just to make sure we're touching base with some actual Hebrew reading before we get lost in the trees with some of this analysis. So why don't you give it a try tonight, Sammy? I think you're probably prepared to start trying these verses and leading us in these verses. Why don't you give a few lines a try, and then we can give Joseph a try.
Okay. Vayarat. Ish. Binyamin.
Nice.
Maharat. Oh yeah. Hold on for a minute. Maha.
Well done. That's a lot of syllables, and you nailed every one of them.
Yes.
Mehama'aracha. And
Vayavo.
Vayavo.
Shilo.
Good. 2 more words, and we'll give Joseph a shot.
Okay. Would you please move the cursor, please? Okay. Bayom. Ao.
Very good.
Ao.
And for whatever reason, the hey sound is a little challenging. So keep working on that. Ha, 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 ha. Ha,
Ha, ha. Ha, ha. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Joseph, could you complete the verse for us?
Starting from, shall I start from?
Third line. The third line, third word. The third line.
Okay.
The third
Okay.
word.
Umadav kevuim va'adama al rosh Rochefort.
Good. So this is the first verse of our lesson. It's verse 12 of the fourth chapter of the first book of Samuel. We're going to focus on a particular kind of a shoresh called an ayin vav shoresh. So what the heck do we mean by an ayin vav shoresh? Well, we know that shoresh means root, and we are going to learn that the shoresh is described by the three letters pei, ayin, lamed. And let me show you what that's all about. It's not going to be brand new, but it's a little bit new. We describe the shorshim in terms of a three-letter root, generically speaking, or like a prototype or a I'm forgetting the word now, but we use the pei, ayin, lamed to describe each radical of the root. So the first radical is pei, the second radical is ayin, and the third radical is lamed. So what do we mean by that? Let's take a look at a fairly standard three-letter root. Here we have the root sipa. It means a couple of things. It can mean to cover, to overlay, like with gold, but it can also mean to look or to observe. So the tsadi is in the first radical position, the pei position. The pei is in the second radical position, which is the ayin position, and the hey is in the third radical position, which is represented by the lamed. So this is a PL verb class, so the pei is associated with the tsadi, the ayin is associated with the pei, and the lamed is associated with the hey. So why is it helpful to have this correspondence between these generic letters pei, ayin, lamed, and the root? It's because we can describe the root in special ways. So in the case of the root bo, vet vav aleph, we see that the vav is in the second position. It's in the ayin position. So we call this an ayin vav root. And we're going to, and once again, we call it an ayin vav root because there's a vav in the ayin position. Is that like going like totally over your head, guys? Or do you have a question about that I could somehow clarify this idea for you, or are you getting it fully?
We are getting.
So, Joseph, if I asked you what letter is in the lamed position in this shorish vo, what letter of the shorish is in the lamed position?
Lamed, I don't see lamed.
Well, we're corresponding the pei, ayin, lamed to the bet vav
Yes.
aleph.
Oh, yes. The letter that is in the lamed position is aleph.
Well done.
Yes.
So Sammy, if I was to ask you what letter of this root is in the pei position, what would you answer?
I mean, the vet.
Correct. Well done. So maybe my explanation wasn't too bad. So Trevor, what's remaining is the vav, which is in the ayin position. Is that somewhat clear, brother?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is a particular class of roots that features a vav in the ayin position, and we call it the ayin vav roots. And vo is one of them. Another one of them I'll show you right now is roots. we have the resh and the tzadi, but I'm here to tell you that the root features a vav in between the resh and the tzadi. And similarly with vayavo, we have in the actual root a vav is in the ayin position. So roots is another ayin vav shorish. Awesome. Great. That little bit of knowledge is going to pay big dividends as we continue discussing the Hebrew roots. So I think you can see something right away that's very characteristic of these ayin vav roots. What do you notice in both vayaratz and vayavo? What's going on with these roots? There's something going on here. It's a fairly obvious question. It's an obvious answer, actually. But do you have an answer? What's going on with these ayin vav roots? What do you notice, if anything? I'll give you a clue. There's one of the letters of the root drops out. Joseph, which letter of the root is dropping out?
I can see that maybe if you can go back to the other.
Sure.
To the other sheet.
So we're talking about ayin vav roots, and the vav is in the second position. But
yes.
when we look at the actual occurrence of the root in the Hebrew text, we notice that the vav has dropped out.
Yes.
So that's very common with the ayin vav shorshim, or the ayin vav roots. So that's just a little bit of discussion on a particular Hebrew root, and should benefit us as we continue working through these Hebrew roots. Let's go on now with the exercise. The exercise is actually to identify a Hebrew root or a Hebrew noun, a verbal root or a Hebrew noun that we can look up in the dictionary. So let's actually go down to the second line, the second word. Trevor, can you read this word for us that I'm highlighting here? Trevor, can you give me the reading of this word? Did I, Trevor?
Sorry, I had trouble with my microphone.
Oh, okay.
Is it via va?
Careful with the last vowel.
Via va.
Where is the vowel? What is this vowel?
It's Greek.
No.
Holum.
Right.
Holum. So it's via vo.
Right. Vayavo. And we've learned that the shoresh is in these ayin vav verb classes, the vet vav aleph. So let's look up vet vav aleph in the dictionary. So again, we're using this Klein dictionary, etymological dictionary of rabbinic Hebrew, which is a wonderful Hebrew English dictionary. and we're putting our keyboard into Hebrew, which once again, I can give some detail on how that goes. And now we type in our vet and our vav and our aleph. So let's type in our vet, our vav, and our aleph. And let's look up this word bow. Trevor, do you want to read the translation of the vet, vav, aleph? Read
Yeah.
the dictionary entry.
To come in, arrive, enter, reach, happen, set of the sun.
Very nice. The kal is another name for the pa'al. The pa'al is our first verb class. And the example is ba. He came in, arrived, entered, reached, happened, it said. The next verb class is known as the hefil, which is the causative. And do you want to read this Hebrew for us, Trevor? After the hefil, we have some Hebrew bit.
He brought in, caused to, led to.
Right. And what is the Hebrew word?
Heavy.
Hey,
Right. Very good. Very good, both Sammy and Trevor. Hey, V. So this is the causative he brought, or he brought in. Then we also have a hofal, which is another verb class. It's a passive class, which means there's no obvious direct object. We don't know who the subject is. Rather, there's not an obvious subject. And Trevor, can you give me the Hebrew pronunciation of this word here?
Aver.
Careful with the first vowel. What is that vowel sound?
It's a shiruk.
Right.
Huva.
Nice. Huva. And by the way, this shuruk is often present when we're dealing with a passive form. And the meaning is was brought. So the book was brought. And it's a tremendous opportunity when you are able to look up the word. We looked up the shorish bet vav aleph, and we are able to see how it's manipulated through these various verb classes. And again, we'll continue to discuss in detail these various classes and the meanings as we go along. But right now, our exercise is mainly just to get a sense of how to look up these words, how to identify what's available to us to look up, and then to actually look them up. Carmine, it's great to have you. And Agus, it's great to have you. Agus, what is your question, brother?
What about suruk in the beginning of the word?
Very good
Yes,
question.
suruk.
The shuruk at the very beginning of the word means and. And sometimes it's a vav with a shva under it, vi, or va, we know means and, but sometimes it can be shuruk u, like lechem umayim. Lechem umayim, bread and water. Oh, we already lost Carmine Falcone. Wow, that was fast. Okay.
And how to pronounce suruk in the beginning of the word?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Right. We'll find some instances of that as we go along. Let's take another stab at identifying a word we can look up in the dictionary. Let's take a look at the last word on line 3. August, do you want to read that word for us? The last word on the third line.
Keruim.
Well done, kruim. You'll become very familiar with this yud mem ending.
Cherubim.
I'm sorry.
Cherubim, or like cherubim.
You know the word cherubim. This isn't the word cherubim, no.
Oh,
But
okay.
it sounds alike, and actually that im at the end of cherubim is the plural. So you have cherub, one cherub, and then you have cherubim is many cherubs.
Many.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the sign of the plural. So there's a suffix here that we can kind of eliminate out so that we're left with the shoresh, or the root that we can look up in the dictionary, which is this kuf resh ayin. This is the bit that we actually want to look up in the dictionary. So let's go over to the dictionary and let's try to find that kuf resh ayin. Kuf resh ayin. And you'll see something pops up right away. And again, Trevor, could you read the entry in Hebrew and the definitions in English?
Korah,
Good.
to tear or to rend.
Well done. So the simple pa'al, the very first verb class, which we call the kal, which means, by the way, easy. Kal means easy or light. So the kal is the kara, he tore or rent. Let's just go with that. Then we have the next verb class, which is known as nifal, which is a passive verb class where there's not an obvious subject. Nikra was torn. The dress was torn. We don't know who tore the dress, but we know the dress was torn. Hasim la nikra'a, or yeah, like that. So we also have Korah was torn. Nitkara became torn. So you get an idea of how this stuff, how these roots are manipulated through the various verb classes. Joseph, these are all our verb classes here. We have nifal, we have piel, we have pual, we have nitpael, we have hefil, and we have hufal. So
Yes.
this particular root gives us examples in almost all of our verb classes. So it's a very nice one for us to start to see how these binyanim, these verb classes operate. And we'll continue to understand these better as we go along. But you see that kruim is actually not here.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
In the Hof, you say hokri. When the
Right.
when the vowel is like the dash is vertical, what kind of vowel is that?
The second one, this vertical. Oh, the vertical dash. I think it's.
Yeah. What here?
I think it's supposed to be a shva.
Okay. Okra.
Yeah,
Okra.
I'll look into that because it doesn't look like a schwa. It looks like the Met tag where we understand we should give some accent to that syllable, but we don't have a syllable here.
Yeah, because yesterday I was reading there was another one that was very strange to me. It looks like a Y upside down.
Okay, those are the notes, the cantillation marks. We have a system of musical notes that we use when we chant the Torah.
I see that. I see. Okay.
But this is problematic, and I'll look into it because my understanding is that the pronunciation is hukra.
Okay.
So it doesn't. I'm not fully understanding what's going on with this vertical line. So let me look into that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, though, we do have the karua, which is related to kruim. So in our Hebrew verse, we have the plural of karua was torn is kruim, were torn. And the translation of the phrase is umad. Oh, here's an u for you, agus. You see it?
Yeah. Umada.
And pronounce the vav, umadav.
Umadav.
And his cloak, and that means and umadav, and his cloaks or his garments, kruim, were torn.
And the garment was torn.
Right. Very nice. So this is great work, you guys. This is really awesome work. We're grasping some of these concepts, which are not necessarily easy, and they're certainly new. And they're elevating us from just reading words with no understanding to bringing understanding to our reading. So it's very exciting and very, very nice progress. I think we'll continue now by simply giving both Agus and Sammy an opportunity to read through the verses, and then we'll go to some drill. So why don't we continue now with Sammy? Yud Gimel is the next verse. Yud Gimel stands for 13. Let's continue with our reading now, Sammy. Yud
Okay.
Gimel.
Vayavo.
Good.
Vehinu.
Careful with your second vowel. What vowel is that?
Vehine.
Good. Vihine.
Vehine. Eli.
Good.
Yoshev.
Good.
Al. Akise.
Right. Al Hakise. The text gives two variations of a word. There's a scribal error in the text, which is corrected in gray. So I'm going to get rid of the scribal error. This is the word
Okay.
we want. Good. Dalit.
Akise. Yad.
Right.
Dereche.
So very nice. But the shva tells us to stop with the ch. So it's derech.
Derech.
Just
Derech.
derech. Nice. Derech. You want to try that word, Agus? Derech.
Derech.
Very nice. Trevor, derech.
Derech.
Very nice. Continue, Sammy.
Miyatzpe.
What's that
Oh.
first letter?
It's like a M.
Right, mem.
Miyatzpe.
And what is the second letter?
Tzadi.
Right.
Yeah. Miyat. Yeah. Miyatspe.
What sound does the tsadi make?
Oh,
Sa-
mitsape.
there you go. Mitzapeh.
Mitsape. Ki. Aya. Haya. Liku. Libu. Libo. Sorry.
Right.
Libo. Haret.
Very nice. August, could you continue with this? Continue for us.
Yeah, L R R
Good. Al Aron.
Aaron Elohim
Nice.
Hadith
It's a shin. Ish.
Via Ish
Good.
Ba
Good.
Le Hey Di
Careful with your vowel under the hey. It's a patach.
He Hadith
There you go.
Bair
Nice. Continue.
Fati Ak
Let's be careful about the syllable, the breaking down of to syllables. The first syllable is va.
Fatif
The second, there you go. Vatiz.
Ak
Right.
Fatif Kal Hair
Nice.
We
Vayarat.
just,
Yes.
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
We just scroll back a little bit, please. Right here. Like Vati, the Shva, shouldn't it be silent there?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Let me hear it, Sammy. Give us your pronunciation.
Vatizak.
Is exactly right. Agus once
Okay.
more. Vatizak.
Vatizak.
Fatif Ak
There you go. Nice. Vayarat ish binyamin meham aracha. And a man of the tribe of Benjamin ran from the ma'aracha, from the battle scene. Vayavo Shiloh bayom hahu. And he came to Shiloh on that day. Umadav kruim. And his garments were rent or torn. Va'adama al rosho. And dirt covered his head. Vayavo v'hine Eli yoshev al hakiseh, and he came, and behold, Eli was sitting on his chair. Yad derech, by the road. Mitzapeh, anxiously waiting, anxiously looking on. Ki haya libo chared, because his heart was trembling, was unsettled, you could say. Al Aron ha Elohim, concerning the ark of God. The Ha'ish ba l'hagid ba'ir, and this man of Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, came in to tell the city. Vatizak, and the whole city became confused and unsettled. Batiza kol ha'ir, and all the city became confused. Joseph, could you give us the last verse and then we'll go to some drill?
Yes. Vaishma Eli et kol hats aka
Nice.
vayomer me kol hamon hazeh
Very nice.
Vehaish Mihar Vayavo Vayagade Le Eili.
Beautiful. Very nicely done. Let me just note that as a result of some of this analysis that we're doing, even if we don't fully understand every bit, what is happening, and it's particularly noticeable with Joseph's reading, is there's more of a logical flow to the pronunciation. It's almost as if, even though Joseph doesn't fully understand every word, I can tell as somebody that understands the Hebrew that it's flowing and being pronounced in a way that's very intelligible, very meaningful. It's partly attributable to Joseph's experience now with the reading, but also to some of this analysis we're doing. And I notice it in your reading, Sammy, as well as Agus. So very nicely done. Nice work, guys. This is some advanced topics now, and we're handling it. That would be it for the recording, Joseph. Now we'll move on to some drill. And I think we can all be together at this green reader level. And that's what I'm going to bring up now. I think we can, all of us, take turns online from the green reader and keep